Hey nerd friends, I'm the Red Reverend. This is Miscellaneous Nerdery. It's been a few weeks since I've been with you. I had a huge piece of homework that I've been working on that was due yesterday, so I turned it in yesterday and now I get to model for a little bit. Today is January 16th, MLK Day, so I'm off work and just sitting here, gonna do a little work on my iron head squats that you saw in the last video and show you kind of the airbrush priming thing that I have going on. Started this a couple weeks ago before I got busy and ran into some problems, so we're going to try to solve the problems today. We'll see how that goes. Probably also worth noting that tomorrow is my birthday. I'm an old gamer and I will be older tomorrow. But one of the advantages of birthdays is you get presents. Got some fresh plastic from my brother and his family. Check that bad boy out. All part of my plan to get a display shelf of Necromunda going, kind of an ash waste setting. And this will help with that. I've got some cool ash waste habitats that I got off eBay, but also these Promethium tanks are going to be fantastic. I kind of want that train too. My idea is that like there's a little habitat and then they've got Promethium stored, so they're mining it, and then the train's coming in, and I think the Leagues of Votann, well, the Ironhead squats are going to be like the miners or something, and then they'll be getting attacked or whatever. That'll be my little Necromunda station, which I think is going to be pretty cool. But that's not the topic for today. Okay, so I'm working on my Ironhead squats, and I'm going for kind of this. So what I'm doing is doing a zenithal coat, which as far as I can tell, zenithal basically means you prime the whole thing black, and then you prime it white from the top down. And that kind of gives you like a shade so that the top of your model is white, from the underside it's black, and the white kind of represents the light. So the light is hitting where the white is hitting. So when you paint it, you can get the idea of where the bright color should be and where the dark color should be. That's actually probably 2 or 3 levels of art ahead of where I am. I'm not really that good. So I had this idea to use zenithal where you just painted the entire model black and then you did the zenithal white from the top down, but I would do it really heavy. So not just from the top, but also like from the kind of angle, and just really dump a lot of white on there so that really all that would be left of black would be the underside of his arms and like the underside, just the very underside. And then I would put the contrast paint. I'd take a contrast paint and I'd go over the top of it. And contrast paint, of course, wants like a really light primer so that it can do its thing. It can darken the crevices and brighten the high points. So I think usually when real art people use zenithal, they're using it as a cue to them of how to paint, but I wanted it to show through. So if I contrast paint something that is white on top and black on bottom, the contrast paint's going to work really well on top. And then on the bottom, it's not going to work really well. It's going to be very dark, and it might just be slightly tinted the color I painted it. But that was okay. I wanted that look. I did that with my Imperial Breacher kill team, and I thought it came out pretty good. It wasn't everything I expected it to be, but that's partly because I shot the contrast paint through my airbrush, and I didn't really like how that worked. I shot the GW paint through my airbrush. I shot some Army Painter speed paint through my airbrush, and it was okay, but it wasn't as great as I think it was the hand brush. So I kind of did a little experiment. Turned out fine, but I want to do it again, and I'm going to hand brush all the contrast. But what I wanted to do with these iron heads, because I kind of want them to be white. So I kind of want them to be white and beige. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to do white over a white and black zenithal, the black's not going to work at all. So what if I did a gray and white zenithal? So that's kind of what you see here. I got this dude. I know he just looks like bare plastic, but he is primed gray. And then this guy is primed gray and then zenithaled white. But I had this problem while I was doing it. My airbrush kept clogging, so now we need to fix that. So when I did my Imperial Breachers, I used the Stynylrez Black airbrush primer to prime them black. And then I used this Army Painter Matte White. And even though I didn't love the final results, the zenithal worked perfectly. So I was fully expecting it to work perfectly again. I used Army Painter Matte Gray, and the gray worked pretty good. Got a pretty good coat, and then I switched to the matte white, and it just jammed my airbrush over and over again. I don't know if you can see some like white paint nonsense going on my little catch pad here. So I took, like, it was almost like there was something wrong with the paint. Like, it was all gritty, and I couldn't get it ungritty. And I had never really experienced that before, so I took it back to the shop. I was like, hey, does this ever go bad? Sun City Comics and Games in El Paso, Texas, by the way. Fantastic humans. Lots of good discounts on GW stuff and paint. And they're like, no, the paint doesn't really go bad. But I understand that white is really hard to work with, and you might need to shake it up. You might need to put some little ball bearings in there and shake it up. And I thought, I did shake it up, but what the hell? I already paid for it. It worked once, so it should work again. So I'll stick some little ball bearings in there, and I'll just shake the bejesus out of it, and we'll try it again. But since they were having a sale on paint, I decided to grab a couple of others to try. I got the Army Painter Yeti White Air. So this is kind of a slightly grayish white, which is not dissimilar to Citadel's Gray Sear, which was, when they first came out with contrast, this was one of the 2 assigned colors that you could use as a primer. So I thought, hey, that might work really well under their contrast white. And then I also got Citadel's own air paint, Ulthuan Gray. They didn't have Gray Sear in the air paint, so I couldn't buy it, but this is pretty close. Pretty close. It's maybe a little more brown to it than gray, but like only when you look at a gray does it look even slightly brown. It's not brown. So I thought, again, I'll use these iron heads as kind of an experiment. I'm going to try to shake the crap out of this white and use it again and see how that looks. And then I'm going to try these 2 guys through the airbrush and see how they look. So lots of shaking today, lots of airbrushing, and we'll see what we come up with. Okay, so step 1, we're going to get some ball bearings in there to shake things up. Little ball bearings. At first, it didn't occur to me to use ball bearings in this paint because it doesn't have an open top, but I think I can get this little plastic tip off. Yes, I can. Eventually. Yeah. Okay, I need a paper towel. So game store guy said like 2 or 3 of these. It's a big pot, and white's annoying. So there go 3 little shaker balls. Put this guy back on. Clean him up a little bit. You don't have to be this neat with all your junk, but I like to be, so this is making me happy right now. If this works, I'll probably do it with all my colors. Now, for the fun part. This is like one of my favorite toys. This is a vortex spinner, and it's actually for scientists. It spins vials or test tubes to like get a vortex going to make them mix, right? But it also works really well as a baby paint can shaker. My buddy Brian turned me onto these. I bought one immediately and I love it. Is it necessary? No. Is it fun? Yes. Comes in various sizes, plugs in with a USB. I particularly like this one because it's blue and because it lights up when you use it. So basically you just push down and it spins. So let's do that. Usually I have it over on the hard plastic part of my desk, so the little rubber feeties stick better and it doesn't jump around like that. I'm gonna put it back there now so it doesn't jump around like that. I just now started hearing the ball bearings. So I'll do like a mixture of handshaking and vortex spinning. Okay, I think that's pretty shaky. I might shake it a little bit more, and then I'm gonna shoot some air onto these iron head squats. I only got 2 of them before I gave up on my airbrush last time, so see if I can get the rest. Yeah, so that worked okay. I feel like the white paint is still jamming up in there. It's not coming out smooth. It doesn't come out unless I like kind of jerk the trigger back and forth. I think it's gonna work because this is not a complicated technique on these guys, but I'm gonna switch paints and see if the others work better. So clean the airbrush and try again. Okay, airbrush is cleaning in the bathroom. I didn't actually switch paints, as you might have seen there. I just want this matte white primer to work, partly because it's much less expensive than the other bottles, and partly because I just want it to work. I tried it with a little airbrush medium this time just to see if that helped, and that might have helped. So maybe I just need to thin it more. The paint came out pretty good. I think they look fine. They're gonna work fine. I just feel like I am missing something, and I don't like missing something. So I'm doing something wrong with the airbrush still, but that's okay, because eventually I'll figure it out. Yeah, I can see the ones I did previously are a little grittier than the ones I just did. So it might be about the thinning, although this guy also has some kind of like modeling on his helmet, like it didn't get all the way covered. It would be interesting to do this over black again, because over the gray, it's really hard to tell the difference, which is why they're gonna work no matter what. So all primed, and we will start painting them this week. I have a cool idea for bases too, which is why they aren't attached to their bases, but I got the bases pre-staged with all their little nubs for them to stand on, and then I'm gonna do some terrain, which I've also never done before. So nothing like trying 8 different experiments on the same set of models to see which one fails. Okay, that's it for me today. Enjoy your hobby life, and yeah, let me know what you think. Ciao.